Um, in the next 24 hours, a machine will likely spot a microscopic cluster of rogue cells in a patient's lung scan that, 3 highly trained human doctors completely missed.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the exact opposite side of the world, another algorithm is analyzing the physical shadows cast by cargo ships from space to predict the exact price of your groceries next month.
It is honestly wild. We are officially living in the era of hyper-aware AI. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are so thrilled to have you with us.
Absolutely. Today, we are opening up a really remarkable daily digest of AI news from July 12th, 2026.
Right, and our mission today isn't just to, read off a list of tech updates or give you some surface-level summary. I mean, we are here to connect the dots for you.
Exactly. We're going to examine how artificial intelligence is rapidly evolving into this hyper-aware set of digital eyes for humanity.
Yeah, it is spotting hidden patterns everywhere, from the literal cells inside our bodies to the massive, super complex movements of global financial markets.
And finally, we have to look at how society handles the immense responsibility of wielding that kind of power.
Yeah, so get comfortable. And okay, let's unpack this. Let's start at the most personal, intimate level possible, which is human health and our physical bodies.
Right, the micro lens.
Exactly. The digest highlights this massive breakthrough from a leading medical institution. They have unveiled a revolutionary deep learning AI model built specifically for medical imaging.
And I mean, we have had computer-assisted imaging in hospitals for a while now, but the source notes something incredibly specific about this new model.
Yeah.
It spots patterns that are completely invisible to the human eye.
Like literally invisible. You just can't see them at all.
Totally invisible. The mechanism behind how it sees is what separates this entirely from legacy diagnostic tools.
Okay, how so?
Well, when a human radiologist looks at a scan, say an MRI or an X-ray, they are relying on years of medical training to spot macro anomalies.
Like looking for a tumor or a break?
Right, they are looking for shapes, a shadow, a lesion, a structural deformity. But human vision, and really the human brain processing that vision, can only perceive so many variables and shades of gray at once.
Sure.
This new deep learning system isn't looking for a shape in the way we understand it. It analyzes the microscopic gradients of pixel shading.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it calculates mathematical textures and tissue densities at a cellular level. So it's recognizing a chain of biological events days or weeks before those cells physically cluster into a lump that a human eye could actually detect.
So it's almost like having the ultimate digital spell checker. But instead of catching typos in a document by looking at the whole word, it's catching the earliest microscopic typos in our cellular makeup.
That is a great way to put it.
Like it's zooming in on the typographical kerning, noticing that the microscopic space between two biological letters is mathematically misaligned long before the word itself is completely misspelled.
Yes, exactly. And what's really fascinating here is the why behind its implementation, especially regarding the workflow of modern medicine.
Right, because hearing about a machine that sees mathematical textures better than a human doctor might make you assume that this is about replacing human medical professionals entirely.
Which is a common fear. But the source makes it emphatically clear that this is about triage. It's about fundamentally shifting the efficiency bottleneck in hospitals.
Because right now, radiologists are just slammed.
Right, completely. Currently, the medical system suffers from a massive volume problem. Radiologists are forced to evaluate everything.
The good, the bad, all of it.
Exactly. The perfectly healthy scans, the slightly ambiguous scans, and the critically dangerous scans. It is this immense grinding workload that inevitably leads to visual habituation.
Visual habituation meaning the longer you stare at screens looking for a problem, the more your brain just starts to normalize what it's seeing.
Essentially, yes, it's
Yeah.
a well-documented cognitive limit. I mean, staring at hundreds of healthy lungs makes a tiny anomaly in the 101st lung much, much harder to spot.
Right, that makes total sense.
So by automating the initial assessments, having this hyper-aware AI act as the tireless first line of defense to flag those invisible mathematical anomalies, it strips away the routine scanning.
It removes the fatigue factor entirely.
Exactly. Healthcare providers can then focus their highly specialized, empathetic human expertise purely on the complex, flagged cases. The AI acts as the ultimate filter, which really elevates the doctor's ability to save lives.
And the early trials mentioned in the digest show massive promise for early disease detection, specifically for cancer and neurological disorders.
It's a game changer.
Just imagine getting that scan back. Instead of an agonizing 2-week wait wondering what a shadow might be, This system delivers highly accurate diagnostic results almost instantly.
Right.
More importantly, it catches a life-altering condition before it even registers as a physical symptom. You're treating the precursor to the disease rather than the disease itself.
And the broader implication outlined in the source is that as this technology scales, it promises more accessible and affordable healthcare worldwide.
Because it's faster and requires fewer human hours.
Exactly. When you dramatically increase the speed and accuracy of diagnostics while simultaneously reducing the bottleneck of human hours required to read routine scans, you naturally lower the overall cost of care.
Wow.
You expand the reach of top-tier medical analysis to, say, rural or underfunded clinics that might not have a dedicated team of world-class radiologists on staff.
We are literally building a microscope that sees into the future of our own bodies. But if an AI can detect a microscopic anomaly in a single human body, what happens when you feed it the anomalies of the entire planet?
Right, zooming all the way out.
Exactly. Can it diagnose a sick economy the exact same way if it diagnoses a sick patient? Our source material actually transitions from the localized hospital to the fast-paced, massive world of global business and finance.
And applying this hyper-aware lens to macroeconomics is where the true scale of machine learning becomes apparent.
Yeah, the digest details a new financial AI tool. It's built by this massive collaboration of economists and AI developers, and it is pioneering economic forecasting.
It's designed to predict market trends and economic shifts with just much greater precision than traditional methods.
Right, and it does this by ingesting impossibly vast data sets. We're talking social media trends, local economic indicators, and crucially, satellite imagery.
This is the part that is so unique.
Here's where it gets really interesting, but also a bit wild to me. I mean, I understand how AI reads a medical scan, but how exactly does looking at a photo from space, combined with reading posts on social media, help a business predict the stock market?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes the massive flaw in how humans have historically analyzed the economy.
Okay.
Traditional forecasting relies heavily on lagging indicators. Economists wait for a quarterly earnings report or, a monthly jobs report or inflation data to be published to tell them what has already happened weeks or months ago.
So traditional forecasting is basically like trying to guess the final score of a baseball game by waiting for the morning newspaper to be printed. It's inherently backward-looking.
That is a perfect way to frame it. This new machine learning model, however, is sitting in the dugout, reading the pitcher's body language in real time.
Oh, I see.
It processes unstructured live data. Let's look at the specific application mentioned in the digest, anticipating the market impacts of major events, like a natural disaster.
Right.
Say a massive hurricane hits a major global shipping port in Southeast Asia. Under the old system, analysts would wait weeks to see the shipping manifestos and the subsequent supply chain delays to calculate how that disrupted the price of electronics.
But this AI doesn't wait for the paperwork.
It bypasses the paperwork entirely. The moment the storm clears, the AI instantly analyzes high-resolution satellite imagery.
So it's looking at the damage from space.
Yes, but it isn't just looking at a picture. It's calculating the precise shadow lengths of the cargo ships stacked up outside the harbor to determine their exact weight and volume.
Wait, really? Just from the shadows?
Yes, from space. It measures the heat signatures of the coastal factories to see which ones have lost power. And simultaneously, in the exact same millisecond, it is scraping global social media across dozens of languages to gauge consumer panic.
That is unbelievable.
It cross-references the physical truth from space with the emotional and economic sentiment on the ground.
Wait, let me push back on that for a second, though.
Yeah.
Social media is notoriously noisy.
Mm-hmm.
It is full of bots, manufactured outrage, fake panic.
Oh, absolutely.
So how does a financial AI know it's not just reacting to a completely artificial trend engineered to manipulate a stock price?
And that is the absolute genius of multimodal data synthesis.
Okay.
If an AI was only reading social media, it could absolutely be fooled by a bot farm creating fake panic about, say, a semiconductor shortage.
Right.
But this AI is grounding that digital sentiment in physical reality. If 10 million tweets claim a factory is destroyed, but the AI's real-time satellite feed shows the factory's heat signature is totally normal and trucks are actively moving out of the loading dock.
It knows the tweets are fake.
Exactly. It flags the social media trend as artificial noise and just ignores it. It marries the unalterable physical data from space with the genuine, localized anxiety to give businesses an instant, highly accurate economic health check.
It translates human anxiety and the physical shadows of cargo ships into a concrete economic valuation in real time.
Precisely.
The source emphasizes that this allows businesses to make informed decisions to reduce risk before the disaster even registers on the traditional market indexes.
Yes.
And I want to pause here because whenever we discuss algorithms predicting financial markets, it usually sounds like, Wall Street magic that only benefits hedge fund managers.
Right. It feels very detached.
But this directly impacts you, the average person. When a business can accurately predict the fallout of a natural disaster or gauge the market stability surrounding a major political election, it allows them to stabilize supply chains.
It's about maintaining flow.
Yeah, it means the companies producing the food, the clothes, and the medicine you need can route around physical or political disasters before they cause a massive shortage. It directly impacts the availability and the prices of everyday goods.
Market stability ultimately governs the consistent flow of resources that society needs to function.
Exactly.
The AI is recognizing patterns in global human behavior, weather impacts, and geopolitical friction that are just too vast and complex for any team of human economists to synthesize in real time. It provides a buffer against global shockwaves.
So we've established that AI has this unprecedented power to see and predict outcomes. It diagnoses the microscopic math in our biology, and it calculates the macro movements of ships and global sentiment to predict our economy.
It's incredibly powerful.
But this immense predictive power forces a really critical, urgent question. Who is setting the rules for a system that knows so much about us? What happens when the ultimate diagnostic tool becomes a completely opaque box?
Perfect vision brings a heavy burden of responsibility. And the source material directly addresses this inevitable tension in a segment covering the modern ethical dimensions of AI development.
Yeah, the digest details a recent, high-profile panel discussion featuring prominent AI ethicists and developers.
And the central theme there was the urgent need to balance this massive pace of innovation with absolute responsibility.
They specifically flagged major, growing concerns surrounding facial recognition tech and autonomous decision-making systems.
Right.
As this hyper-aware technology integrates into the background of our daily lives, concerns regarding data privacy, systemic bias, and accountability are just accelerating.
They really are.
So what does this all mean for us? If an algorithm is making a life-altering decision about my healthcare scan, or deciding if an applicant gets approved for a mortgage, I want to know why it made that call.
Of course.
We can't just blindly trust a machine simply because it's mathematically advanced. We are running right into the black box dilemma.
This raises an important question, and it is the exact focal point of the panel's debate. The black box dilemma describes a scenario where we feed data into an AI, and it spits out a highly accurate prediction or decision.
Right.
But the neural network's internal process, the millions of mathematical weights and biases it used to arrive at that conclusion, is so complex that even its original human creators cannot fully explain the logic path.
Which is deeply unsettling. I mean, if a human loan officer denies a mortgage or a human doctor denies a specific treatment, you can ask them to explain their reasoning.
Exactly.
If they made a biased or flawed judgment, there is a trail of logic you can appeal.
Accountability requires an explainable logic trail. The digest notes that the panel issued a strong call for robust regulatory frameworks and absolute transparency.
Yeah.
Whether an AI is scanning a human face at an airport terminal using facial recognition software or analyzing a localized financial market, a lack of transparency risks hard-coding historical human biases into our daily infrastructure.
Right, because bias in AI doesn't usually come from malicious programming, does it?
No, it comes from training data. If a medical AI is trained predominantly on genetic data from one specific demographic, it might mathematically fail to spot those invisible anomalies in a patient from a completely different demographic.
Oh, wow.
If an autonomous system is making unexplainable decisions without oversight, we completely lose the ability to correct the mechanism when it inevitably gets things wrong.
Because it is built by humans, using human historical data, so it will absolutely make errors.
Definitely.
The experts on the panel emphasize that users must understand how these systems make decisions. It is not enough for the technology to be statistically accurate most of the time. It has to be explainable all of the time.
Yes, transparency is key.
The ultimate takeaway from the panel is that technological advancement must be tightly aligned with societal values and human rights. We need frameworks that don't just protect the intellectual property of the developers, but actively protect the citizens who have to live inside the predictive world that this innovation creates.
And it requires an unprecedented collaborative effort. The panel makes it clear that tech companies cannot establish these frameworks in an isolated vacuum.
Right, it can't just be the coders making the rules.
Exactly. It requires ethicists, legal regulators, and the general public understanding these underlying mechanisms well enough to demand that structural transparency. The speed of the technology simply cannot outpace the speed of the ethical framework governing it.
Okay, let's bring all of these threads together. We have covered a massive amount of ground today unpacking this July 2026 digest.
We really have.
We started by looking through the microlens, exploring deep learning models that analyze the microscopic gradients of our medical scans, effectively acting as an early warning system for our cellular health, and fundamentally shifting how hospitals manage triage.
We then zoomed out to the macro lens, detailing how machine learning algorithms synthesize massive, unstructured datasets.
Like cross-referencing satellite imagery of port infrastructure with global social media sentiment.
Right, to bypass slow, traditional economic forecasting, ultimately protecting global supply chains from unpredictable events.
And finally, we examine the ethical lens, the
Mm.
absolute non-negotiable necessity of keeping these autonomous, all-seeing systems transparent, accountable, and strictly aligned with fundamental human rights.
It's so vital.
You're living through a profound technological transition right now.
Yeah,
AI has moved past being a novelty. It is rapidly becoming the ultimate pattern recognition engine for our entire civilization.
it really is.
It is the new, hyper-aware lens through which we will manage our health, navigate our global wealth, and build our future.
The tools to predict and stabilize our world are actively coming online. The defining challenge of this era is deciding exactly how we choose to wield them.
Which brings me to a final, somewhat unsettling thought I want to leave you with today. We talked heavily about the ethicists' strict demand for transparency. They argue that AI must be entirely transparent so we can understand its decisions and hold the system accountable. But consider the sheer scale and mechanics of what we've just discussed today.
It's massive.
As AI evolves to read impossibly complex data, synthesizing the microscopic pixel gradients of 1 billion lung scans, or calculating the shadow lengths of thousands of global cargo ships against millions of emotional data points in a fraction of a second, will human beings even possess the cognitive capacity to understand the AI's explanation?
That is the big question.
If a machine is connecting millions of invisible mathematical dots that our biological brains physically cannot perceive, is true transparency even possible anymore? Let that sink in. Thank you so much for joining us on today's deep dive. We'll catch you next time.